Eyam
Sambhutim upasate.
Tado bhuya ivade tamo.
Tato bhuya eva tamo.
Yaya yudu sambhutyam gradaha.
Yayu sambhutyam rataha.
Andam tamaha pravishandi.
Andam tama pravishanti.
Ye asambhudim upasade.
Ye sambhutim upasate.
Tado bhuya ivade tamo.
Tato bhuya eva tamo.
Yayut sambhutyam gradaha.
Yayu sambhutyam rataha.
We'll go synonyms, word by word meaning. Andam, ignorance.
Andam, ignorance.
Ignorance.
Tamaha, darkness.
Tamaha, darkness.
Pravishandi, enter into.
Pravishanti, enter into.
Ye, those who.
Those who.
Asambhudim, demigods.
Demigod.
Demigod.
Upasade, worship.
Upasate, worship.
Worship.
Tadaha, than that.
Tataha, than that.
Than that.
Bhuyaha, still more.
Bhuyaha, still more.
Still more.
Iva, like that.
Eva, like
Ever
that.
like that.
They, those.
They, those.
Tamaha, darkness.
Tamaha, darkness.
Ye, who.
Ye,
Who.
You, also.
You also.
Sambhutya, in the absolute.
Sambhutyam, in the absolute.
Gadaha, engaged.
Rataha,
Engaged.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.
Jai.
Translation. Those who are engaged in the worship of demigods
Those who are engaged in the worship of demigods
enter into the darkest region of ignorance,
Enter into the darkest region of darkness, ignorance.
and still more so
And still more so,
do the worshippers of the impersonal absolute.
do the worshippers of the impersonal absolute.
Purport. The devotees, you want to read one by one paragraph each devotee? Yes. Go ahead, please.
I can read.
Please.
The Sanskrit word asambhuti refers to those who have no independent existence. Sambhuti is the absolute personality of Godhead, who is absolutely independent of everything. In the Bhagavad Gita 10.2, the absolute personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna stated, Name viduha sura guna pravabhavanti na mada. I can read Sanskrit but not English.
Mahashaya.
Marsaya. Adham adihi devanam maharsinam cha sarvasaha. Neither the host of demigods nor the great sages know my origin or opulency, for in every respect I am the source of demigods and sages. Thus Krishna is the origin of the powers delegated to the demigods, great mystics. Although they are endowed with the great powers, these powers are limited, and thus it is very difficult for them to know how Krishna himself appears by his own internal potency in the form of man.
Yeah. Anybody else? Next paragraph.
I will read, Prabhuji.
Please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Purport given by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Many philosophers and great rishis or mystics try to distinguish the absolute from the relative by their tiny brain power. This has only helped them reach the negative conception of absolute without realizing any positive trace of absolute. Definition of the absolute by negation is not complete. Such negative definitions lead one to create a concept of one's own. Thus, one imagines that absolute must be formless and without qualities. Such negative qualities are simply the reversals of relative material qualities and are therefore also relative. By conceiving of the absolute in this way, one can at the utmost reach the impersonal effulgence of God, known as Brahma. But one cannot make further progress to Bhagavan, the personality of Godhead. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Anybody else? Please go ahead. Unmute yourself. Please read.
Can I go further, Prabhuji?
Yeah, please. If nobody else, yeah.
Please, Mataji, go ahead.
Okay. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Start with this one. Such mental speculators. Is where. You're reading, Mataji, we can't hear you. No, we can't hear you, Mataji.
Shall I read, Prabhu?
Yes, please. Go ahead.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Such mental speculators do not know that the absolute personality of Godhead is Krishna, that the impersonal Brahman is the glaring effulgence of his transcendental body, or that the Paramatma, the super soul, is his all-pervading plenary representation, nor do they know that Krishna has his eternal form with its transcendental qualities of eternal bliss and knowledge. The dependent demigods and great sages imperfectly consider him to be a powerful demigod, and they consider the Brahman effulgence to be the absolute truth, but the devotees of Krishna, by dint of their surrendering unto him and their unalloyed devotion, can know that he is the absolute person and that everything emanates from him. Such devotees continuously render loving service unto Krishna, the fountainhead of everything. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Next paragraph.
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, I can read.
Please.
In the Bhagavad Gita 7.20 and 23, it is said that only unintelligent, bewildered persons driven by a strong desire for sense gratification worship the demigods for the temporary relief of temporary problems. Since the living being is materially entangled, he has to be relieved from material bondage entirely to attain permanent relief on the spiritual plane, where eternal bliss, life, and knowledge exist. Sri Isopanishad therefore instructs that we should not seek temporary relief of our difficulties by worshipping the dependent demigods, who can bestow only temporary benefit. Rather, we must worship the absolute personality of Godhead, Krishna, who is all attractive and who can bestow upon us complete freedom from material bondage by taking us back home, back to Godhead. Hare Krishna.
Next verse. Next paragraph.
Prabhuji, I can read.
Please go ahead.
Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. It is stated in the Bhagavad Gita 7.23 that the worshippers of the demigods can go to the planets of the demigods. The moon worshippers can go to the moon, the sun worshippers to the moon, etc. Modern scientists are now venturing to the moon with the help of rockets. But this is not really a new attempt. With their advanced consciousness, human beings are naturally inclined to travel in outer space and to reach other planets, either by spaceships, mystic powers, or demigod worship. In the Vedic scripture, it is said that one can reach other planets by any one of these three ways. But the most common way is by worshipping the demigod presiding over a particular planet. In this way, one can reach the moon planet, the sun planet, and even Brahmaloka, the topmost planet in this universe. However, all planets in the material universe are temporary residents. The only permanent planets are the Vaikuntha Loka. These are found in the spiritual sky where the personality of Godhead himself predominates. As Lord Krishna states in the Bhagavad Gita 8.16, Abrahma bhuvanaloka punar avartino arjuna mamupetya tu kaunteya punarjanma na vidyate. From the highest planet in the material world down to the lowest, all are places of misery wherein repeated birth and
Yep.
death take place. But it got somewhere scrolled.
Yeah, okay. It's in the
Okay, but who attains my abode, O son of Kunti, never takes birth again.
Yeah, thank you. Okay.
Thank
The other devotee, the next verse, next paragraph. Go ahead.
The problem of life cannot be solved simply by going to the moon planet.
No, the Sri Isopanishad.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Shall I continue or someone else can go?
No. Sri Isopanishad. Continue. The previous one.
Okay.
That didn't read. Yeah.
Okay. Sri Isopanishad points out that one who worships the demigods and attains their material planet still remains in the darkest region of the universe. The whole universe is covered by gigantic material elements. It is just like a coconut covered by a shell and half filled with water. Since its covering is airtight, the darkness within is dense, and therefore the sun and the moon are required for illumination. Outside the universe is the vast and unlimited Brahmajyotir expansion, which is filled with Vaikuntha Lokas. The biggest and the highest of the Brahmajyotir is Krishna Loka, or Goloka Vrindavan, where the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Shri Krishna himself, resides. Lord Shri Krishna never leaves Krishna Loka. Although he dwells there with his eternal associates, he is omnipresent throughout the complete material and spiritual cosmic manifestations. This fact has already been explained in Mantra 4. The Lord is present everywhere, just like the sun, yet he is situated in one place, just as the sun is situated in its own undeviating orbit. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. Next paragraph. Next paragraph. Any other devotee?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, please.
The problems of life cannot be solved simply by going to the moon planet or to some other planet above or below it. Therefore, Sri Isopanishad advises us not to bother with any destination within this dark material universe, but to try to get out of it and reach the effulgent kingdom of God. There are many pseudo worshippers who become religionist only for the sake of name and fame. Such pseudo religionists do not wish to get out of this universe and reach the spiritual sky. They only want to maintain the status quo in the material world under the grab of worshipping the Lord. The atheist and impersonalist lead such foolish pseudo regionalists into the darkest region by preaching the cult of atheism. The atheist directly denies the existence of supreme personality of Godhead, and the impersonalists support the atheist by stressing the impersonal aspect of the Supreme Lord. Thus far, we have not come across any mantra in Sri Isopanishad in which the Supreme Personality of Godhead is denied. It is said that he can run faster than anyone. Those who are running after other planets are certainly persons. And if the Lord can run faster than all of them, how can he be impersonal? The impersonal conception of the Supreme Lord is another form of ignorance, arising from an imperfect conception of the absolute truth.
Next paragraph. Please go ahead. Maybe a couple more. Go ahead. Who is going to read? The devotees, please try. This is wonderful opportunity. Read the Isopanishad. This is the transcendental knowledge. One who writes, read, listen, hear, all beneficial.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam, please.
So I have to read from the Lord.
The ignorant pseudo-religionist.
Okay. The ignorant pseudo-religionist and the manufacturers of so-called incarnations who directly violates the Vedic injunctions are liable to enter into the darkest region of the universe because they misled those who follow them. These impersonalists generally pose themselves as incarnations of God to foolish persons who have no knowledge of Vedic wisdom. If such foolish men have any knowledge at all, it is more dangerous in their hands than ignorance itself. Such impersonalists do not even worship the demigod according to the scriptural recommendation. In the scriptures, there are recommendations for worshipping demigods under certain circumstances, but at the same time, these scriptures states that there is normally no need for this. In the Bhagavad Gita 7.23, it is clearly stated that the results derived from worshipping the demigods are not permanent, since the entire material universe is impermanent. Whatever is achieved within the darkness of material existence is also impermanent. The question is how to obtain real and permanent life. That went for now.
Please go ahead. The next paragraph.
Prabhuji, you want me to continue reading?
If any other devotees would like to read, so everybody can get an opportunity. Please go ahead.
Oh, okay, Prabhu.
Nobody else? If nobody else, then yes, please. Anybody else want to read? Two more paragraph. Okay, go ahead, Mataji.
Okay, Prabhu. The Lord states that as soon as one realizes him one reaches him by devotional service, which is the one and only way to approach the personality of Godhead, one attains complete freedom from the bondage of birth and death. In other words, the path of salvation from the material clutches fully depends on the principle of knowledge and detachment gained from serving the Lord. The pseudo-religionists have neither knowledge nor detachment from material affairs, for most of them want to live in the golden shackles of material bondage under the shadow of philanthropic activities. disguised as religious principles. By a false display of religious sentiments, they present a show of devotional service while indulging in all sort of immoral activities. In this way, they pass as spiritual master and devotees of God. Such violators of religious principles have no respect for the authoritative acharyas, the holy teachers in the strict disciplic succession. They ignore the Vedic injunctions, acharya vasana. One must worship the acharya, and Krishna's statement in the Bhagavad Gita 4.2, Evam param para param paratma paraptam. Sorry, parampara paraptam. This supreme science of God is received through the disciplic succession. Instead, to mislead the people in journal, they themselves become so-called acharyas, but they do not even follow the principles of the acharyas.
The last paragraph, anybody? Please go ahead. Anybody else would like to read?
I can read again.
Yes, please go ahead.
These rogues are the most dangerous elements in the human society. Because there is no religious government, they escape punishment by the law of the state. They cannot, however, escape the law of Supreme, who has clearly declared in Bhagavad Gita that envious demons in the grave of religious propagandists shall be thrown into the darkest region of the hell. In Bhagavad Gita 16.9.20, Sri Isopanishad confirms that these pseudo-regionalists are heading towards the most obnoxious place in the universe after the completion of their spiritual master business, which they conduct simply for a sense gratification.
Yeah. Thank you so much, dear devotees, involving and reading and understanding the purport of Srila Prabhupada for this very powerful verse of the Isopanishad mantra, mantra 12. So we'll go and meditate on what we can understand a little more in detail. What is most important, understanding this as most important in our life. That's where we are going to head on in this today's class. And we'll start. Om Nagyana Timirandasya Yananjana Salagaya Chakshurunmilidam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhudale Srimade Lokanath Sadhiramine. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhudale Srimade Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namine. Namaste Saraswada Devi Guruvani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Thank you, dear devotees, for joining today. It's very powerful mantras of Isopanishad. This details about the transcendental realization and understanding of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Our entire human existence is meant to understand the Supreme. All the Vedas are meant to understand the Supreme. Our existence, our life is meant to understand that supreme knowledge, the absolute truth, absolute knowledge, that Supreme Personality of Godhead. There is nothing more important than this in this human form of life. That's why we have the human form of life. So Srila Prabhupada very much emphasizing in these verses about the importance to understand what is the Supreme Lord and what are the demigods and the impersonal aspect of it and realization or understanding. Various ways that we can see that there are different schools of thoughts in this world, everybody misguiding each other. And that's like an elephant, right? For blind people, they went, wanted to see the elephant. So somehow somebody directed, okay, this is the elephant. They came and these four blind people came around the elephant. and they touched, one person touched the trunk of the elephant, another blind man touched the body of the elephant, another blind man touched the leg of the elephant, and another blind man touched the tail of the elephant. So they started to explain about it. Oh, then they came together. Oh, elephant, how did you feel? How are you? How did you feel it about the elephant? The first person who touched the trunk of the elephant said that it's like a hollow pipe. Elephant is just like a hollow pipe. I said, yeah, okay. No. Elephant is not like that. Elephant is not like that. So the other blind man who touched the body of the elephant says it's like just like a big, mat, just like a big mat. Another person, third person, no. Elephant is not like that. He was holding the leg of the elephant. He said, no. Elephant is just like a big pillar. Elephant is just like a big pillar. Another person, that the blind man, no, it's not like that. Elephant is not like that. He said, the elephant is just like a big stick. So the reason I pointed out that, and Srila Prabhupada quoted this example many times, the blind man's, how do they see how do they understand? So when somebody is completely covered with this ignorance, ajnana timirandasya, when somebody is completely covered with this ignorance, they see things accordingly. Whatever the perception they have, and they put forward and says that, oh, this is all about it and there is nothing beyond it. So that's why the Supreme Lord this very clearly explains in the Bhagavad Gita, and the Supreme Lord also reveals this through this Vedas, through this Isopanishad, and Srila Prabhupada very nicely putting this together. So here we can see that in the previous verses, and the Isopanishad reveals that what is Vidya and what is Avidya, what is knowledge, right, and what is the ignorance, and what should we do, and how we should understand and realize this supreme transcendental truth. So there is a truth, there is a supreme truth, there is an absolute truth beyond all this. And there is a nature beyond all this ignorance. There is an enlightenment beyond this, all this, our ignorance or this andhakar. So, and in this Isopanishad, and then it is declaring and establishing that the nature of the absolute truth and the supreme truth, and who is that supreme personality of Godhead. And many times people misunderstand this, that if I worship some demigods, if I worship that different aspect of the Lord, then I can attain the supreme, or I can attain the perfection. So, but here in this mantra 12, very clearly it explains that those who are engaged in the worship of demigods enter into the darkest region of the ignorance. See, we will explain that why it is mentioned that they would enter into the darkest region of ignorance. And then we will also understand what is ignorance and how we can come out of this ignorance, and what is the ultimate goal of the human form of life. So this verse, and Srila Prabhupada very elaborately describes this. And in the first verse, and the first word itself says asambhudi. Asambhudi means which is one who is not independent, or one who have no independence of the existence, right? If he thinks that one who has no independence of existence, this is called demigods, right? Asambhudi in this Srila Prabhupada verses, in the verses, it is mentioned that the equal meaning for this asambhudi means the demigods, because of who has demigod who have no independence, no separate independence. So it is something like that. I am completely tied up with the, in this world. And then another person come and telling that, okay, can you come and help me? Because of I am completely tied up, I am helpless. I am depending on somebody else. When I am depending on somebody else and we are going to that person and requesting and asking for help, how can he help? Because of he is also completely dependent upon other people. So here in this words, the asambhudi means demigods, and sambhudi means the absolute personality of Godhead, and also vibhu. And this word weird sambhu, sambhudi, and vibhu, vibhudi. All these words come because of this represents the supreme personality of Godhead. So it's mentioned that Srila Prabhupada in the purport, who is absolutely independent of everything. So only that person who is completely independent of everything is that supreme personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. Everything else is actually depend upon that supreme personality of Godhead. So Here it is very clearly mentioned that instead of going to the demigods, who is completely tied up with so many other things, and we are asking for the help, and we are directing ourselves for everything and seeking for everything, and that is foolish, that is ignorance, because of they are also who is depend upon the Supreme Lord, only very limited in their capacity, only limitedly that they can do anything for us. So then Srila Prabhupada says that neither the host of demigods nor the great sages know my origin or opulence. This is the Bhagavad Gita 10.2. The 10.2 is considered as the most confidential knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. The most confidential knowledge is the 9th chapter, and then it also reveals that the most confidential knowledge is also the 10th chapter. So here it says that Name Vidu Suragana Prabhavam na Maharshayaha Aham Adarhi Devana. See here, the Supreme Lord is revealing that Aham Adarhi Devana, the origin of all the demigods. I'm the origin of all these different other energies of the Lord. Maharshi Ram Sa Sarvashaha. I am the supreme of everything. Neither the host of demigods nor the great sages know my origin or opulences. For in every respect, I am the source of the demigods and sages. Thus, Krishna is the origin of the powers delegated to the demigods, great sages and mystics. Although they are endowed with the great powers, those powers are limited, and thus it is very difficult for them to know how Krishna himself appears by his own internal potency in the form of a man. So Krishna is revealing this in Bhagavad Gita also. This is quoting from the Bhagavad Gita. So Krishna is revealing himself, and Krishna is telling that I am the source of everything. Aham sarvasya prabhavo mataha sarvam pravartade. This material and spiritual everything emanates from me. One who knows me, one who knows this transcendental truth, worship me. And aham sarvasya prabhavo mataha sarvam pravartade idi matva bhajande mam bhuta bhava. One who is intelligent, one who knows this transcendental knowledge, worship me with the full faith, with the full devotion. Aham sarvasya prabhavo. And also Brahma reveals this one. Brahma also says in the Brahma Samhita, it is mentioned that Premanjana Churida Bhakti Vilochanena Shanta Sadeva Hridesha Vilogayandi Yam Shyama Sundaram Achindya Gunaswarupam. Even anybody, even the highest, even Brahma cannot understand completely the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because of his Achindya Gunaswarum, his inconceivable potency he has, inconceivable attribute he has, inconceivable qualities he has, inconceivable forms he has. He is beyond our mental or material perceptions. So only by devotional service one can understand him. So that's why Srila Rupa Goswami mentioned in the Nectar of Devotion. Ata Sri Krishna Namadhi na bhavet na indriya sevon mukohi jikhvadu swayam eva spuradiyada. Ata Sri Krishna Namadhi na bhavet na indriya. By our indriyas, by our senses or minds, na bhava na indriya. Only by loving devotional service can only understand that Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because of that devotional power, that devotional potency, enable him to reveal that Lord himself to that such a devotee. So that's why this mentioning Brahma is also mentioning that, because of the Supreme Lord is beyond all our perceptions. But that Supreme Lord is also even very far, but is also very near to everybody. He is seated in our heart. And he is very near to his devotees. There is no doubt into that. Because of one who has such a faith and love for Krishna, Krishna makes him available towards that such devotees. There is no doubt into that. So this is the power of devotion. This is the power of worshipping the Supreme Personality Godhead. He is very much Bhakta Valsala. He is very dear to his devotees. Very dear to his devotees. No matter what, when the devotees are in trouble, and Supreme Lord is come down very quickly. We know that the story, the pastimes of Gajendra. The Supreme Lord quickly came to rescue the devotees of the Lord Gajendra, who was actually Indradhimna Swami in the previous life. So he became a Gajendra in his life, and when he was in a trouble, the Supreme Lord himself came to rescue the Gajendra. Like that, there are so many incidents. The Srila Prabhupada was quoting this one incident like this. There was one poor lady, who was a very ardent devotee of the Lord Krishna, very poor, and it's a Brahmin, lady, and it was very dharmic life and completely depend upon Krishna. And she didn't have a husband. I think husband passed away, and there was a little boy, she was who was very much, very much in following her mother, following his mother, and he was studying in the school. One day, then there was there is a program which was arranged with the school, and in that program, everybody has to bring something like a potluck. And then the teacher asked, "Okay, what are you going to bring?" So this little boy, that's because of in their home there is nothing much left, to bring something for the the kids in the school. So this little kid came back to the home and mentioned all this. That teacher mentioned that I should bring something. His mother said, "No, there is nothing in my home that I can give you." Then this little child was very much very disappointed, and requesting again and again to the mother, "Somehow, can you please arrange something?" So mother said, "Only Krishna can help you. Only Krishna can help you." And the mother was worshipping the Gopal. She said, "Only Gopal can help you." So then mother, this child asked mother, "So how can I meet this Gopal?" So this little child was very innocent. He thought that there is a person out there, Gopal, and Gopal can help you. So this little child, so this mother said, "You go out and call out Gopal, and Gopal will come and help you." Just to he was annoying, and just to distract his mind. And then this little boy took, literally that word, and went out into the, he's living in a village, little outskirts of that home, and went there and started to call, "Gopal, Gopal, are you there? Gopal, are you there?" So immediately there's a boy came, and this little Gopal, this boy was very happy, and seeing this Gopal came. So this little boy explained to Gopal, "Gopal, this is what it is. I need to bring something to the school. Teacher mentioned to me." So then Gopal said, "No worries. Tell to your teacher that, tell to your mother that, and teacher that I will bring the curd, yogurt to the school." So he was so happy. So the day come, and then he went out and again called, "Gopal, where are you? You promised me to that, you will give me yogurt." So then this little child and Gopal came, and Gopal gave a pot of yogurt to this little child. The child very happily brought this to the school, and teacher was very happy, and he brought this little pot of yogurt, and everybody heard, "Oh, this little pot, how can we serve for everybody?" So he was said, "Okay, just give it to that." But when everybody started to take the yogurt from this pot, it was never ending. Everybody was taking and taking, but still it is not, finishing this yogurt. Everybody was astonishing, what is all this? So then little child said that this what is all happened. And then this Gopal was none other than Krishna. So this is the example I gave because of their devotees. The Lord is there. He is very Bhakta Valsala. He is there for his devotees all the time. So we know that Krishna is there in order to help Arjuna. He was become a charioteer, and he was taking all these kinds of, stamping on him, and all this distress and this suffering in the battlefield. Krishna was taking. Why? Because of Krishna was very much Bhakta Valsala. So Srila Prabhupada further write like this, and it goes like this. And we can see that there are impersonalists, there are demigods, and this verse is actually differentiating between or we can say that the Supreme Lord versus demigods and impersonalists. So the impersonalists generally known as the mental speculators, and they are, or we can say that the Jnana Yogis. The Jnana Yogis, what they do, they just try to read and try to understand. They come to a conclusion. That's what is in Srila Prabhupada mentioned the purport. They come to a conclusion that they negate, and they come to the negativity of it, and they say, Lord cannot be a person. And their argument is that how Lord can be a person? Because of person cannot create anything. Person can be very limited. How a limited person can be a God? He is Vibhu. He is great. He is vast. And then they come to a conclusion like that. Lord cannot be a person. Lord is impersonal. That's why they come to a conclusion that Lord doesn't have any guna. Then Lord doesn't have any qualities. Lord is niraga. Lord doesn't have any form. Lord is nirjiva. Lord doesn't have anything to do. And they come up with so much of conclusions, but none of the scriptures, endorse this. And but they are coming up with their own conclusion. That's why since beginning we can see that, and they interpret the Vedic knowledge, they interpret the Vedas, the knowledge, they interpret their own way and mental speculation. They say there is nothing. Or then they also come to this conclusion that Tattvam Asi, this is what you. That means you are also God. You are also part of this Brahman. That Brahman is everything. There is nothing. Brahman, Jagat Mithya, Brahman Satyam. So these are all different kinds of conclusion they come up with, and they say there is no form, there is no super. So that actually they can realize. So why? Because of Krishna is reveals that in the Bhagavad Gita that Naham Prakasha Sarvasya Yoga Maya Samavruta Mudo Bhijan Abhijadi Yogo Bhijan Abhijanadi Mudo Bhi no Naham Prakasha Sarvasya Yoga Maya Samavruta Mudo Bhi Jan Nadi Lokomam Ajam Abhyam. Mudobhi Abhijanadi Lokomam Ajam Abhyam. Krishna says that I do not manifest to the unintelligent and foolish. See, I do not manifest to the unintelligent and foolish. Why Krishna is saying that unintelligent and foolish? Because of we are putting ourselves for something great. So we are coming to a conclusion that I am the supreme of everything. I know this. I know that I am the great scholar. I am the great philosopher. I can speak, I can do. So this ego. So when there is ego is very much prominent, then what happens? We think that, okay, I can say everything. Whatever I am saying is correct. My way is highway, right? This is our attitude. My way is highway. There is nothing beyond that. Then what happens? You come up to that and says that such people are foolish because of they are not understanding the real fact of it. And they are unintelligent. So Krishna says that I do not manifest to the unintelligent and the foolish, so that I am covered by my internal potency, so that they do not know me that I am the supreme personality of Godhead and I am the Lord of all that exists. So why? Because of Krishna does not reveal himself to such people because of they are coming under that the unintelligent and foolish. So then they have so much of arguments and they put together the codes and the Vedas and put together in such a way that, and then what happened? They stuck there, and then they come to that real just the knowledge aspect in some not complete knowledge, very little knowledge aspect of about yes, they come to understanding that Lord provided everything. Yes, that's true. In the Vedas also reveals that. In the Bhagavad explains that Vadanti tat tat vidat tattvam yad jnanam abhyam brahmedi paramatmedi bhagavan iti shabdaye. There are three aspects of the Supreme Lord, the Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. And Lord is actually manifested. Lord pervaded everywhere. That's the Brahman aspect of it. That's just one part of it. And Srila Prabhupada also mentioned that these are the impersonal aspect of the Lord, or the demigods are the plenary representation of the Supreme Lord. The plenary representation of the Supreme Lord. So then further it explains that. So and Srila Prabhupada also mentioned that, and Krishna also reveals in the Bhagavad Gita, they do not know that the Absolute is a person. That is Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So they do not understand because of they don't have that the quality. Because of the quality of a devotee means he is very humble. The quality of a devotee is he is very menial servant. He is ready to do the service. And he is always wanted to seek and he wanted to serve everyone because of he is very humble in his position. That's why humility is very important in order to understand the transcendental knowledge. Without humility, it's very difficult to attain the transcendental knowledge. So we all should have the primary quality as the humility. That means wherever and whenever there is a transcendental subject matter, we should open our heart first. Why? When we say we have opened our heart means we are coming to that humility. And if you're completely, I know everything, I am that, I'm so and so devotees, I'm senior, I'm so knowledgeable in this, I don't want to know anything. No, then we will not understand because that humility is not there. Humility is the key. That's why, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that in order to attain this devotion, that one should be humbler than a blade of grass and taller than a tree, because of we have to tolerate. We have to be very humble and very meek and humbly we should seek this transcendental knowledge, then only it can understand. So, but on the other hand, the impersonalist, They always think that I'm the so, I'm nothing that beyond, and they argue, they put forward all their, and they say there is no form, there is no God. How can they say that? And it says that Srila Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Mayavada Bhasha Sunilo Haya Sarvanash. Because of, it says that even that one who has little of knowledge of this one, and they would have this liberation of Sayuchya Mukti, or they merge with the effulgence of the Lord. So it says that one who even seek for the Sayuchya means complete merge with the Lord. And then there is another kind of liberation, is that one who merges into the effulgence of the Lord. So even the Sayuja Mukti is most dangerous than this merging the effulgence of the Lord, because of one who is Sayuja Mukti, then there is no opportunity that he gets to serve the Supreme Lord personally. When one realizes this, the Bhagavan aspect, the Supreme Personality of Godhead aspect, then he can have an opportunity to serve personally that Supreme Personality of Godhead and enter into the abode of the Supreme Lord. And there he can personally serve and relish such a bliss and such an ananda. But here, on the other hand, a jnana yogi or impersonalist who merges with the body, then he will never have that opportunity. And then rather than one who even merges with the Brahma Jyoti, he falls down because he is in the peripherals of this Vaikuntha. He can fall down and many millions of life after. Then he may also get an opportunity back. But one who is in the merge with the Lord, Sayuchya Mukti, then he will not never have this opportunity to serve the lordships, and he completely lost his identity. So here it is says that there are so many people misunderstand him and consider he is an eternal great demigod. That's why Krishna says, Avajanadi mamudam manushim tanumasudam parambhavam ajanando mama bhuta maheshwaram. Krishna says in the 9th chapter, 11th verse. Avajanadi mamudha. When I come, present myself as Supreme Personality of Godhead, but the fools derides me. Fools derides me. They do not know me that I am the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Parambhava janato mama bhuta maheshwaram. They do not know me that I am the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Why it is happening? Because of when we are foolish and unintelligent, then it will not reveal to us. Because of we are covered by the internal potency, so that our material desires, in order to fulfill the material desires, we are completely seeking for this all material attachment and seeking for the demigod worship, so that we can have this all various and fulfill our desires through our senses. That's why it is represented as mentioned that it is unintelligent and foolish. So here further it explains that Bhagavad Gita in the 7th chapter, 20th verse, those whose intelligence has been stolen by material desires surrender unto demigods and follow the particular rules and regulations of worship according to their own natures. So this is what it is. So in order to fulfill the material desires, they'll be completely attached to this material nature. And then what happens when they attach completely with this material nature, then they completely delude themselves, and all their intelligence, everything is actually just to fulfill their material desires. So they worship demigods. So in this verse, this Isopanishad reveals that one who is exclusive worship of demigods are unintelligent. Why? Because of they are just trying to temporarily fulfill and satisfy their own sensual desires. They may ask for the health. Why is that for? Because I can enjoy. They may ask for good wife or husband. They may ask for good money and richness. They ask for the fame and knowledge and celebrity. And so many ways people worship for the demigods in so many ways. Why? Because they can utilize everything for their own selfish desires or self-centric activities. That's why it is mentioned that this is an unintelligent. So then we come to the further understanding is that, and men of small intelligence worship the demigods, and their fruits are limited and temporary. Those who worship the demigods go to the planets of the demigods, but my devotees ultimately reach my supreme planet. So the demigods, those who are unintelligent and less intelligent, they worship demigods, and they go through this cycle of birth and death and birth and this life after life after life. They stuck, they entangle here in this material world because of what is called unsustained, that unfulfilled desires. They have unlimited desires, and one after another, And in the Bhagavad Gita, it says that Asha Pachastadir Vedir Kama Krodha Parayana Hande Kama Bhogartamanyayartena Sanchayan Asha Pachastadir Vedir. This desires are binding force. It will bind us again and again and again. We are materially desiring for, and we do so many other worships. Monday this god, Tuesday this god, and Wednesday this god, Thursday this god, and so much of this demigod worship. What is actually ultimate results? That is binding us again and again and again here in this material world. So this is less intelligent. This is unintelligent. So it's also Krishna says that Yanti Deva Vrata Deva and Puti Yanti Pratirvada, Bhudani Yanti Bhudechya, Yanti Made Jino Abhima. That means one who worship the demigods will take birth among the demigods. And those who worship the ghost and spirit will take birth among the such beings. And those who worship the ancestors goes to the ancestors. And those who worship me still will live with me. It's a very true. It's a very true fact. And as we know that each universe is 14 planetary systems. Just above the earth, this the planet called Bhuvarlok. Bhuvarlok is the place where the ghost and the gobblers lives. And then just above that's called Pitralok. Pitralok, where the ancestors live. And then above that is called Sargalok, that's the demigod lives. So accordingly, those who are worshippers of all these ancestors, demigods, ghosts, and the gobblers, all will reach to this certain place. But they live for some time, they all come back again and take birth in the different species of life. That's why further it says that Brahma Bhuvanir Loge Punaravartino Arjuna Mamubete du Kaundeya Punarchanmana Vidyade, as is Krishna says that, right? And from the highest planetary system to the lowest planetary system is Punaravartino Arjuna. From the Brahma to the lower planetary system, everybody has to take birth again and again in this material world. But Krishna says that Mamubete du Kaunteya Punarchanmana Vidyade, but one who reaches my abode will never returns back to this material world. Dear devotees, doesn't matter, as it always says that, that the human form of life here in this material world, considered as the span of life, the human life is considered as just a bubble in the water. And we are all in the bubble in the water compared to the lifespan of the Brahma or this Manus. It's just a little lifespan that we have, the human form of life. And we think that this is everything, there is nothing beyond it. And because of our less intelligence, our intelligence is completely covered with this ignorance, timirandasya, andakar, ignorance, darkness. Then what happens? We completely entangled, completely covered by this, and then we do not know what to be done. That's why the devotees, the Supreme Lord Himself, in the form of scriptures, Vedas, Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, reveals this transcendental knowledge. So Vedas are the real knowledge, absolute knowledge, and we should take it. And when we take and engage in the faith, with faith and loving devotional service, then all the other transcendental knowledge reveals to us, naturally. So then Krishna says that outside of the universe, unlimited Brahmajyotir by the effulgence of Vaikuntha planets, and that highest Vaikuntha planet is Krishna Loka or Goloka Vrindavan. So beyond this material realm, beyond this material boundary, dear devotees, there is another loka. That's why Krishna says that. It says that in the Bhagavad Gita says that it says that beyond this material nature there is a superior nature of mind. That's why Krishna says that Pragratim Vidime Param. I forgot the beginning of that verse and after the 7, 8, and the 9th verse. Pragratim Vidime Param Jiva Buddha Mahabaho Ed Dari Jagat. It says that beyond my material nature, there is a superior nature. That superior nature is the spiritual nature. All living entities belongs to that superior nature. But when that superior nature, that living entity, come in contact with this inferior nature or the material nature, which is an incompatible situation, that's why we are suffering in this world. But our eternal nature, our spiritual nature, belongs to that superior nature or the spiritual nature. So like a fish out of the water, when the fish out of the water suffers and struggles, but the home, the natural plane for the fish is the water. When this fish goes to the water, then it's happy and enjoyed, and it's blissful. So similarly, the natural home for the living entity is that spiritual nature. That's why we are spiritual entities, the parcel of that supreme spiritual potency. So that world, that supreme world, that spiritual nature is beyond this material nature. And as Krishna says that one who reaches my abode never returns. So like that, even though Lord is there, and Lord, it says that Lord never leaves that Vrindavan, that Goloka Vrindavan, that never leaves. This is the topmost of the highest planetary system in the Vaikuntha planet is the Golok Vrindavan. That's where the Krishna and all the wonderful and his devotees and his close associates lives. And in the Brahma Samhita, Brahma is so wonderfully explains this. Krishna is full of conscious, nothing that, likes that. Every living entity is there full of conscious. Chit, Chaitanya is there, Chaitanya. Nama Chindamani Krishna Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha. Chaitanya is full of conscious. And he is Rasa Vigraha, he is a Vigraha, he is a person. Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigrahanadi Radha Govinda Sarvakarana Karanam. He is a person. What is his form? Sachit Ananda. So that Supreme Lord, that's the ultimate abode of every living entity. But here, because of we are unintelligent, we are completely entangled with this material desires. We worship demigods, and some other we polluted by these mental speculations or many other, influence of this material nature. We come to these various levels of the schools of the thoughts, like, the four blind persons, understood the elephant. Similarly, we are all like that. That's why it is mentioned that we are all in the darkest region. This darkest region of this world. The demigod worshippers are in the darkest region of this world. The impersonalists are in the darkest region of this world. Why? Because of by nature, this world is dark. We can see that, right? That's why this world is needed sun, stars, and the moon. Otherwise, there won't be any light here. Why there is moons and the stars and lightning? That stars, gives the light. And this is because of this nature, this world is dark. Even we know that when Krishna and Arjuna was going through these horses and through these heavenly planets, and some point it came that it's full of darkness. And we know that the Sandana Gopala, the story of Sandana Gopala, Krishna wanted to search all the children who was actually vanished. Asunas took the birth and vanished. And finally, Krishna and Arjuna started to search for, and Krishna knew where it is. Krishna and Arjuna then started to travel. Krishna entered into the Vaikuntha planets. And just before the Vaikuntha planet, just beyond this Brahma Loka, there is a plain called Loka Loka. This Loka Loka plain is actually complete, full of dark. Even though sun and moon here in this, in this universe of Brahma Loka, there is sun and moon, which enlightens it. But beyond this Brahma Loka, there is a plain called Loka Loka. It's completely dark. So this world is known as darkness. That's why this world is called darkest region, or is called inferior region of this spiritual. So the spiritual nature is completely, that Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Natad bhasayado surya, nasachandana pavagha idigatva navartande tadhama paramamama. My abode is never illuminated by sun or moon. One who reaches my abode and I will never return in this material world. Natad bhasayado surya nasachandana pavagha idigatva nanuvartande tadhama paramamama. One who reaches my abode will never return back into this material world. So dear devotees, that Supreme Lord, that Supreme Nature, that spiritual nature is eternal. That never deteriorates. It's not temporary. This material world is darkest region, which is temporary. It is there for some time. So that's why Brahma has created this sun and moon so that everybody gets lights. But in the dark, in the night, we get darkness. Night, that is called Andhakar, that means our ignorance. When we are full of ignorance, we are full of darkness. We are under the spell of darkness when we are full of ignorance. That's why we pray to the Supreme Lord that please lead me from ignorance to the enlightenment, from this Andhakara to enlightenment. Asatoma sadgamaya, tamasoma jyotirgamaya, murtyurma amurdam gamaya. That's a prayer, that's a Vedas reveals to us. Murtyoma amurdam gamaya. From this our martya, murtyu, from this ignorant, darkest, temporary world to that eternal amurdam, that immortality, that eternity, there everything is so wonderful. That we all can see that the Supreme Lord is always, omnipresent, and he is omnipotent, and he is omniscient, he is full of conscious of everything. Nothing that can surpass, and he is also very much dear to his devotees. So instead of we are stuck here in this material world, dear devotees, this is the ultimate and absolute transcendental knowledge. We are stuck here in this darkest region of this world. And Brahma Bhuvaner Logar Punaravartina, we sometimes in the higher planetary system, sometimes we stuck into the hellish planets. And there we suffer for so many long years. So many long years we suffer there. And we are kind of tossing up and down like something we fall into the water of the ocean. So in the waves, it goes up and down. Then what happens? We just helplessly go as per the direction of the current, as per the direction of the wind, as per the direction of this world. That's what is happening to us, dear devotees. We are so helpless. We are completely covered by this material ocean, this Bhava Sagara. This is so much powerful. That's why Krishna says that Devi Esha Gunamaya Maumaya Duradaya. This modes of material nature is my energy, but it's very difficult to overcome. So this material nature is very difficult to overcome once we are in the grip, the clutches of this Maya, this material energy is very difficult to overcome. So, but we have this very, very wonderful opportunity that to understand and realize our transcendental position. We are Sachidananda Vigraha, we are part and parcel of the Lord, we are belongs to that superior nature. We are, our original nature is spiritual nature, that Jivera Swarupa Hoya Krishna Nityadas. That's our eternal nature, that we are belongs to that superior nature, but somehow we are entrapped here in this material world. Without understanding, we are into this darkest region of this material world, and further we go down, it's more darker and more darker and more darker. When we go higher and higher, we understand, and we come to this loving devotional service, come in contact with this Supreme Lord, Supreme Personality of God, Sri Krishna. Our journey starts there, then our heart becomes clean, our ignorance is dispelled, our ignorance is slowly diminished, and we enlighten and we get this transcendental knowledge. And by nature, then in that heart, when the Lord is seated in the heart, in that time, there is no need of any sun, no need of any moon, no need of any light. Everything that will then reveals to us, then the light, that darkness will go away, ignorance will go away. The Krishna reveals to us, and that's where we get all this transcendental knowledge and reveals to us. That's where we get enlightenment. Then we come out from this darkest region of this material world and come and more closer to Krishna. That's the time we completely see Krishna, because of now our impurities are gone. And Ajnanas Mirandasya, the spiritual master, reveals this transcendental knowledge. By that transcendental knowledge, our heart is purified. Now we can see, like Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, that then the mirror is covered with this all the dust. Now we cannot see anything ourselves. Now the heart is clean. When we worship that Supreme Lord, because of only Krishna can liberate ourselves. Nobody else can liberate. That's why Krishna's name is known as Mukunda. Mukunda means one who gives liberation, dear devotees. One who gives liberation, nothing else. So that abode, the Srimad Bhagavatam, Brahma Samhita, there are Yajurveda, there are so many descriptions, explains about this transcendental abode and transcendental nature of the Supreme Lord. We also have that transcendental nature, but we are here in this material world, then we accordingly, act accordingly. Like a person wears a Google with a blue glass, but you see everything blue. So we are in this material world, so we are accordingly acting according to this material nature, modes of material nature. But beyond these modes of material nature, there is a transcendental nature, dear devotees. That's our spiritual nature. Only by understanding, come out from these all entangles and the clutches of this material nature, demigod worship, impersonalists. But the Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he is a person, he is a form, he has a form. The Brahma Samhita explains so beautifully. And he has a beautiful form. He is Shama Sundara, Alula Chandraga Lasad Vanamalya Vamshi, Yatnangadam Pranaya Keli Kalavilasam, Shamam Drabhanga Lalidam Yeda Prakasham, Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Pachami. The devotees, there's a spiritual nature which beyond our perception, beyond the material. Aprameya. Aprameya means beyond that our mental speculation. Only by loving devotion one can reach to that abode, one can see that Supreme Personality of Godhead. So our purpose of the human form of life is to come to that realization and come to that knowledge and come to that understanding, and then engage ourselves, body, mind, and words to realize, and with the faith, with the strong faith, worship the Supreme Lord and his devotees. And similarly, our impurities goes, and we can also reach to that our transcendental abode, that the permanent abode, rather than this darkest region of this material world. With this note, I would end here. Thank you so much for being there and listening this, and we have wonderful opportunity by the mercy of the Lord. And thank you so much, dear devotees, for being there and participating, and with your all wonderful devotion that is possible. Hare Krishna. I would stop here. Gandhiraj Sri Isopanishad ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So I would humbly request, are there any questions or comments or concern, anything you would like to discuss? We have some time. Please go ahead. Any questions? Any discussions?
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, Dharma Pranam. No, go ahead, Mataji.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, it's okay. Go ahead, Mataji.
Okay. Thank you, Mataji. I have question like I have a paragraph from Bhagavad Gita.
Okay.
I wanted to know the meaning of that. Like it says that impersonal Brahman realization is the realization of his Sat. Feature Paramatma realization is the realization of Sat Chit. But realization of the personality of Godhead Krishna is the realization of transcendental feature Sat Chit Ananda in complete figure form.
Yes.
So I wanted to understand like what is the meaning of impersonal Brahman and Paramatma realization.
Yeah, wonderful. Yeah, I also read that, and it's a very beautiful. Srila Prabhupada put such a transcendental realization of that. Yes, when we realize that the Supreme Lord, and what is the full form, full feature of Krishna, that the form of Krishna is Satchit Ananda Vigraha. That means Sat Chit Anand. That means he is completely eternal, full of knowledge and potency, and full of bliss. Right?
Mhm.
So that's Krishna, and also that's our nature. But the impersonalists, or these Mayavadis or the Jnanavadis, so they only come to that realization of Sat. That means eternal. So Lord is eternal. That means his eternal nature is pervaded everywhere, and he is eternal. That's it. Nothing beyond that. So up to that point, only impersonalists or the Brahmavadis or Mayavadis can come to closer to that. They don't know that Lord is completely knowledgeable, God is completely full of potency and completely has a form, and he has a person, and he has a bliss. That means he can derive such a great pleasure. And because of why? Because of they don't consider the Supreme Lord as a person. They think that he is pervaded everywhere. That's eternal nature of the Supreme Lord. He is pervaded everywhere. And they come to that really. That's why it is mentioned that the impersonalists, the Brahmavadis, are just realizing the Sat part of it. Then the Paramatma part, and they then actually realize that the yogi, that Paramatma realization, the people, they realize the Supreme Lord as realized in their heart. They say, okay, I also have the Lord. Lord's potency is there, and I can realize the Lord is in my heart. That is actually come to that realization of Sat and Chit. That means that's a Chit. Chit means in the heart, or Chit is full of knowledge and potency. That's why heart is known as Chittam. And the yogis realize the Supreme Lord in the heart, and they see that the Lord is seated in the heart in the form of 400 Vishnu form. And that again, they don't come more closer, that he is a person, he has a rasa, he has a relationship, he has devotees, he derives such a great pleasure with association of all this Ananda, Ambhuti Vardhanam. Still, they are not coming to that point. That's why the yogis and these Brahmavadis, the Jnanis, they cannot enter into the realm of spiritual, the Goloka Vrindavan. So only those who have that transcendental form, that who has revealed Krishna, revealed to such devotees, and interact with Krishna by loving devotion, serving that personal form of the Lord. And that's why many devotees, when they serve the Lord, they relish that the Lord is happy or not. Srila Prabhupada many times comes to the temple and say, deity is very happy, the deity is smiling. Sometimes Srila Prabhupada says that no, deities are not happy because of you need to intensify devotion and serving deities so nicely. Deities are not happy. Devotees can relish this. Why? Because of that Ananda aspect of it, the blissful aspect of it. Why there is a blissful aspect of it? Because of he's a person. When there is a person interact with another person, there is such a pleasure, such a bliss. So one who has come to that Bhagavan realization, he is a person, he is a Bhagavan, he has all the opulences. He has a strength, he has a fame, he has a knowledge, he has a beauty, he has a renunciation, and he has all the richness. So who can have this? Only the person. That's why he's known as Bhagavan. He has all the relationships. He has all the rasas. He has all these various leelas, manifestation with his devotees. Only who can have this? Only one who has that Bhagavan realization, one who has strong faith in him as in the personal form. Then only that Krishna reveals to such people in that full form. That's why full aspect of Krishna. So all the other aspects I've mentioned, that is a partial representations of Krishna. Even Sat is partial representations. Chit is also partial representative. What is the full representation of Krishna? The full, the complete Purnat, that is Krishna himself, that is that Shyama Sundara Krishna. That only that one who has loving devotion for Krishna can relish, realize that full potency of Sat, full form of Chit, and full of form of the Ananda. That's what it is revealing here in this purport Srila Bhavada reveals here. Is it clear?
Yeah, Prabhuji. And like when you say like Lord is in like complete Vigraha form, so it means like he's not like in energy form. He has like a complete body like us. Is that like that means?
You mean Nirguna? Nirguna means Lord doesn't have any qualities. Is that Nirguna form? That's what you mentioned?
No, it's saying that God is in like complete Vigraha form.
Complete Vigraha. Yes. Complete, yes. See, we have this material body, right? It's called Sharira or Vigraha. There is a spirit, there is three kinds of body that we all have. That means we have gross body, they are called gross Sharira, it's called Sharir. Sharira means body. And that's called our Stula Sharir, that we see it. And then also there is Sushma Sharir, which we don't see it, but it is there, right? That's our pulse, ego, mind, and intelligence, right? It's also Sharir. It takes Sharir's form. Then also there is Adhyatmika Sharir. That's our spiritual body, right? Adhyatmika Sharir, spiritual body. That's why it is mentioned that even the Lord is seated in our heart. He is a four-handed Vishnu form. And one who enters into the spiritual abode, he also attain and different kinds of liberation, depends on that liberation. If he enters in the Vaikuntha planet, he also have the four-handed Vishnu form. That means four hands are there. It's a Vigraha. Four hands are there. He has legs, he has hands, he has eyes, he has beautiful body, the color of same like Vishnu. The bodily effulgence is like Vishnu. He has helmet, he has hands, he has weapons, and all things will be there with each and everybody. That's why when we have the liberation, we'll also have our Swarup, our original identity we get. We were all one point of time has this form because of we were part of, and we were Tadastha Shakti, we were part of that Vaikuntha, the peripherals of Vaikuntha. We all had this. We also had an identity. But now, because of our independent desire separately from Krishna, then we develop certain bodies, like in this material world. Like if you go to the Patala Loka, you will have a different body. If you go to the heavenly planets, you have a different body. There is a subtle body more that we cannot see it. With our eyes, we cannot see it. Why we are limited? Our eyes, our body, our everything is here on this material planet, especially on the earth, is just just to resemble whatever and match with this, what is there in the earthly qualities. There are living entities even within the sun globe, even living entities, but we don't see it. Why? They are on the subtle form, in the Sushma Sharir. So only we have limitation in our eyes, right? We cannot see certain things, but that is not the case. But the dogs can see, scientists, it is proved that. Even dogs can see even these subtle bodies like ghost and all these different other forms, they can see it. And why the Amaraj is considered as he has coming on the back of the bullock, he has a long rope in his hand, and why he has a big gada in his hand. Why it is not just a myth or somebody just from their idea. No, because of the people, there are so many, capable people, yogis. They can see beyond, right? They see the things, what is happening in the moon. They sat here and they could see it. And when we go beyond our perceptions, when we go, that's why we get this transcendental, understanding. We go beyond, right? The yogis can have it. Yogis can come to the Sushma Sharir and they can have the Stula Sharir. They can appear and disappear. That's why yogis, Vyasadeva was, appearing and entering into the different body. We have the yogis. They have spiritual power. When they have the spiritual power, they can enter and, come out. They can become so Sushma. And then those so stula, that's a yoga siddhi, Ashtanga yoga siddhi means they can have any form they would like to have, right? Whether in the heavenly planets. So the heavenly planets, the form is different. So it's not like our form, but they are also, they live there for 10,000 years to fit for that environment. And they are more subtle. Then Sushma, that's a Sushma, subtle form. But the spiritual form is more subtle than all those, more subtle. But we know that we have a spiritual, that's why I'm speaking, right? And from that seed, think about it, a seed of a mango tree, right? Exactly like that, it comes out as a mango tree, isn't it? So, but we see that the little tiny seed within that little tiny seed, that's a very minute form, but that minute form is exactly a replica of that, the big tree, isn't it? Similarly, we have this human form of the form is mentioned that exactly the replica of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, that 200 Vishnu, Krishna, the form of Krishna. Then we are exactly the replica. That's why this material world is a reflection of that, the spiritual world. Everything is there. The trees are there. The cows are there. The rivers are there, the streams are there, the Govardhan is there, and all the birds, bumblebees, everything is there, the cows, everything is there. But what is in this form? The spiritual, completely the pure form. So think about that, our Sushma, our Stula Sharira, our body started to degrade even within 24 hours when the soul is not there. So who is holding this form? That spirit soul, that's the spirit soul form. When the spirit soul form is there, is that's why we have this form. The moment spirit soul leaves, that is not, it cannot sustain anymore. But that doesn't mean that the form is not there. The form is there. In the similar way, one who enters into the Goloka Vrindavan, he has the similar form like Krishna and the two-handed form, but is completely spiritual. And completely spiritual, and he's full of conscious. So with our limited, that's why aprameya, with our limited capability and capacity, we cannot perceive this. But there is. That's why we can see that when a person, there is a, in Germany, I think few years back, I think maybe in my childhood, it was very big news on the newspaper. There's a photography called Kirlian photography. When a Kirlian photography, and when we take a person dies, and at the time that when he takes that, the Kirlian photography, and it has an image which comes to that photography, that the form of that, the person, the soul leaves that the body, that it's come to that, the photograph, it's an image that captures. It's like the form of a human that is just goes like. That's why many times in our scriptures, draws that the picture of a human or the demigods, all like these different forms. Why? Because of they also have that the form, right? So yes, they are completely spiritual, but we don't see it. Why? Because we are completely covered with our material impurities. The moment we come out of these complete material impurities, then we can see it. That's why many sages, when Vilumangalam Thakur comes to the temple as a great yogi, great devotee of the Lord, when he comes to the temple, look at the deity and see that Krishna is there or not. When Vilumangalam Thakur comes to the Guruvayur temple, one time he came there and saw that Krishna is not there. Krishna is sitting with the auditorium. There is a big, like Krishnanatam. Krishnanatam means the songs of the musical play of, the dance of the glorification of Krishna. Krishna went and sit in the mid of the audience. When Vilumangalam Thakur came and looking at Krishna, Krishna is not there. Krishna is sitting there, and which form? That spiritual form. That spiritual form that Vilumangalam, that devotee can see. Nobody else can see. So this is called spiritual vision. And Arjuna saw this when he has a spiritual vision, the entire universal form of Krishna. Krishna is holding everything, this universe. But only that Krishna gave that spiritual vision to Arjuna, then Arjuna could see it. So like that, when with the devotion, when we have the spiritual vision, then we can also see our spiritual form.
Got it, Prabhuji. You explained very well.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, thank you. Jai, anybody else? Any other questions? I think somebody was trying to ask a question, right? Is that Anuradha Mataji?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. You explained so well that there's such a beautiful explanation of everything. And I was like it just like this. I got some answers, but still, as devotees, I'm trying to become a devotee. I'm like, and we have still while doing the services and all those things on, occasionally, and when we get a chance to do, and when we come home and then there's some gap because we are not connected with devotees. That's because we have so much of our own, circle, and in and also like they're non-devotees basically. So it's my question is like how to deal with this, because we have understanding about what you were sharing, but now there are challenges every minute or second. Sometimes things changes in fraction of a second, because Maya Devi is so powerful, and by keeping ourselves intact, as you say, that keep that dharya or patience, and but she's so powerful that even if we don't want to say something to someone, but we tend to say something, and it's very difficult to hold ourselves. So I'm like in that kind of a situation sometimes, like how to even, I'm thinking I'm prepared myself whole day by chanting, I do everything, but there's somebody with different energy come, and then you have to say it, and then you feel like, oh my God, why I said that, it's not good. So like your conscious is there's kind of tug of war of in your own thoughts sometimes when you internalize at the end of the day how was your day went, and like that.
Yeah, I mean, yes, it's a bit difficult, isn't it? We are in this world, and material world is completely captures us, and then we are just swaying like a leaf in the water, in an ocean water. It goes as per the waves of this ocean. So similarly, we are also like that. We are tossed in this world, material energy, sometimes good, sometimes happy, sometimes peaceful, sometimes distress, sometimes disappointment, sometimes so much of struggle. So we are going through day and night, all these various kinds of problems of this world. And then on top of it, we have to deal with the many different types of people and work and family, house, so much of things, like every day to day in our life, right? This is the world. This is a material world. Yes. So we are in the midst of this forest fire. You know that the forest fire, that's Davagni. Davagni, as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that. So what is that? Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that we are in the midst of this forest fire, but only remedy that forest fire is actually that the holy name of the Supreme Lord can eradicate that great power of that Agni, forest fire can eradicate only by the mercy of that Namarup Namapurush. We have to take complete shelter of the holy name. So we know that initially that, when Srila Prabhupada came to this country, and there initially those who are associated came to Srila Prabhupada was full of drug addicts. They don't know what they were doing. If somebody says one thing, they would tell 100 things back to them. Completely covered by the ignorance, completely covered by the sensual, addictions, and they don't know what they were doing, what they were talking, what they were dealing with everyone. No idea, because they're completely ignorant, completely covered with the senses and the mind. So how do they, within short time period of associate with that pure devotee of Krishna, that Srila Prabhupada, and they followed the instructions of Srila Prabhupada of chanting of the holy name, and they were very sincere because of the potency which imparted by Srila Prabhupada to them. That power, that potency transformed them, and they took that literally, that's very strongly, that the instructions of Srila Prabhupada. So this is very important for us, dear devotees. We have to take very seriously. Yes, we are in the mid of only way that we can eradicate this forest fire, that which comes to us in different forms, the forms of relationship, forms of friends, forms of our sensual attachment, forms of our material desires, forms of so many, you name it. There's so many, these material things. All that can be come out of it by our sincere japa, sincere chanting of the holy name every day, and then associate with the great devotees. And what is that means? Read the scriptures every day, and hear Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, this, transcendental topics. Then associate with the devotees, and slowly our impurities goes away and makes us so strong, right? That's what it become abhaya. We become fearless. We are become strong when we are powerful and strong. That's a spiritual strong. Then when we are spiritually strong, then materially then cannot contaminate us much more now, because we are very spiritually strong. Only when we are spiritually strong, then only that material energy, Maya, can be weakened. We are not spiritually strong, then Maya will be strong, right? Either Maya will be strong, it's a tug of war. Our life is tug of war. Either Maya will be powerful or spiritual, energy, our devotion is powerful. When our devotion is powerful, Maya has less effect. When our devotion is very weak, Maya has most power, right? That's what it is. So all the only remedy is that we should be strengthen our devotion, our power of devotion in so many ways. And then asangatyaga, try to avoid, as Krishna says, Srila Rupa Goswami says, asangatyaga, right? Atyahara prayasascha prajalpa niyamagraha, prajalpa, free from all this, niyamagraha, and asangatyaga, sadovrutti, sangatyaga, sadovrutti, shadbhir bhakti vinashyati. That means if we follow this atyahara, prajalpa, niyamagraha, and this sadovrutti and sangatyaga, all this if we have, then what happened? Sangatyaga means when we have devoid of all the wonderful devotee association, right? So when we have lose all those, then what happened? This way, bhakti vinatshiri, that means we lose our bhakti shakti. When we don't have our bhakti shakti, the potency, that power of bhakti, the spiritual potency, then that's where the Maya comes to and attack us. Then we swayed away with that Maya's energy. Then we start to reply, start to say something. If somebody says something bad, we reply to it. We get angry, we get lost, we get so many things like that. And then we swayed away slowly, slowly, slowly. Doesn't matter what is happening in around me, but what's most important, how long we are going to live in this world. So Shubha Shashikra, the most important is actually that how much I am with Krishna in this world as a human. And this is what is deciding that what is our next destination. That's the most important. We are not going to live here for 1,000 years. We are not going to live here 500 years, 200 years, 150 years, even who knows, 100 years. We are not going to live. It's like a bubble in the water. It's going to go very quickly, when we never know when is. So, but we have this human form of life that's guaranteed. That's right now here, and everything else is like yesterday is a cancelled check, tomorrow is a promissory note, today is a ready cash. So this ready cash is right there. That's the truth. That's the real truth, that we are here, exist here as a human, and my life is meant for Krishna. That's what is we have to always carry in our heart. Nothing else. Nothing else is important. All it's important is actually my relationship with the Krishna, nobody else. He is my everything. He is my dear beloved. He is my father. He is my everything. That's what it is we need to have in our heart. And we have to, every moment of our life, that Krishna should be in our heart, in front of us. Nothing else. Nothing else is important in this life. When nothing else is important, then what is what affects us? If Krishna is the most important, everything else is less important, then what affects us? Nothing will affect us. So then everything, like, Srila Prabhupada says that, so then such situations comes, we don't take association, but we give association of, say a certain situation we cannot avoid. In that situation, what we do? We give association, but we don't take association. That means if somebody, annoyed us, and then we don't annoy in such situations. We are cool and calm. Only that cool and calm and peaceful condition comes from our how much we are situated in Krishna consciousness. If we are situated wonderfully in Krishna consciousness, only that we can come out of such situations, we can overcome this material energy. These are all the various material energy, or the ocean of this material energy. Okay?
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, Dhammapanam. Actually, it is a very good the way you explained, because there was another question I was writing up some paper. It's exactly I was looking for the answer. It says, describe the importance of avoiding atyahara and prayasa in one's devotional service, and how can you avoid such tendencies? So thank you.
No problem. Yeah, thank you so much. Yes, it's a way we can. Yes, the whole everything is actually what is our priority? What is our most important thing in our life? Who is the most important person in our life? Krishna, nobody else. He is the most important person in our life. And everything is like, that's a Krishna-centric, that's a Krishna conscious life or Krishna-centric life. And Krishna is the most important person in our life. Nothing is most important. So we should always have this in our heart, that consciousness. That's a perfection of our life. Then when we have that, then at the time of death, when the time of passing this body, Krishna will come personally and take such devotees along with him, and nothing, no more. And he is right there, he is in front of us. We can see him, right? With that devotion only that we can see. Okay. Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you so much. Wonderful question. Very nice. Anybody else? Anything else to discuss? Anything to share? Anything to, any other realizations?
Prabhu, atyahara means excessive desire for prosperity, or what?
Atyahara. Ahara means atyahara. Yes, there are various meanings for it. First of all, the primary meaning for it, that overeating, ahar, right? Overeating, first. Second thing, in incessant material desires. Atya means we are so attached to this material world. Ahara means whatever we intake, right? That's called ahara in Sanskrit, means whatever we are intaking. Our sensual attachment is ahara, atyahara, excessive desire, excessive attachment, excessive indulgence in this material, worldly things, incessive, desires of enjoyment for this material world, incessive of, like speech, suppose you wanted to speak something, and you are kind of like watching movie and, all this material, various things which you have, enjoyment and, all these, worldly associations, is all considered as atyahara. Then when we have all this, then we have a natural tendency to the prajalpa, unwanted talk. So that means, like Srila Prabhupada gives an example, like a frog, when immediately after the rainy season rains, the frog comes out and started to croak. So what will happen when they started to croak and make that sound, or crow, what happens? They are inviting the snake. So that means they are saying, okay, snake, please come and eat us. So what? They may be talking, they may be all this nonsense, talking all this thing, but we are inviting the trouble. So similarly, when we have this tendency of all this unwanted talk, uncontrolled speech and uncontrolled tongue of taste, we are inviting the death. Our death, we are inviting it. We are not understanding, but we are inviting the death. Rather, we control that. The same tongue we can use to glorify the Lord and sing the glories of the Lord and talk about the Lord and taste the prasadam, Krishna prasadam. And what we are inviting, we are completely coming out from our death, and we are inviting that the Supreme Lord, our eternity, our eternal nature. Yes, atyahara means all this. We are completely indulging in so many excessive and worldly things.
Thank you, Prabhu. It's very deep, and it's like we consciously, unconsciously, we are all doing this.
Yeah.
Especially I'm doing that, and like, as you said, it's like, it's very deep. Thank you.
Yep. Yeah, it's deep rooted. It's somehow or other, knowingly or unknowingly, it comes out, right? That's where we are now. That's our constitution, right? How much we are attached to this material world, it will come out. Like Srila Prabhupada says that unless and until a person talks, we cannot understand that what a person is. A foolish person is revealed the moment he started to talk. And he will reveal himself. A foolish person reveal himself until and the moment he start to speak. Then we can understand that when he start to speak, we can understand what kind of person he is. That's why it is, because of that's what he is. That's what is deep rooted. His intensity, his intention, his desires, all is there. Just by that, right? We can understand that a person, like always says that, it says that we can understand a person knowing that who is his friends, right? We can understand a person knowing that who is all his friends. So that likes that. The crows goes to crows. A swan goes to the swan. The crows goes to the dirty place. The swan goes to very clean and sacred place. So this is what we can see in this world. Like when there is a satsang, right? That's the devotees goes. At the same time, the crows and the people, those who are impure and the dirty, they goes to the drink and the bar and they, kind of enjoy. Then so many things they go and do this. And a person who was clean can understand that a dirt. A clean and very, he took a bath nicely and he's nice and clean. The moment he come out from the bath and the shower, he's very clean and he can easily recognize what is the dirty things. He sees something dirty, he will not like to touch on the dirt after he take a bath because he's clean. So like that. But a dirty person, he doesn't care. A dirty person is completely dirty. He doesn't care to touch a dirt because he's already dirty. So this is what is we need to always have care of and conscious of it. So when we more clear and pure, and then, naturally that our consciousness will also there, and then we can see that what is dirt, and then we should be free from that dirt, and, don't touch, don't be with that, and then we completely has to be pure. That's what is, the Krishna conscious help us. And many times we know that, lot of, devotees in there, they were eating onion and garlic in their earliest time, and then they stopped it. Then what happened after some times? Now, on the smell of the onion and the garlic, they cannot tolerate. Why? They became pure in their consciousness. So this is the way they become. We become pure and more Krishna conscious. When we are a pure Krishna conscious person, then anything that which like in this mundane is anything like, all this that when it comes to us, we say, what is this? This there's not any meaning. It's all kind of nonsense which people's sentiments, emotions and all put together in so many ways. And here on the other hand, people pay for it hundreds of dollars and spend for just to be part of this emotional, blackmailing of the different people. And we are all complete. The 99% of the world is just behind it, after it. And this is what is this world is, right? Why? Because of they are like that. That is their consciousness or constitution. But on the other hand, devotees, they relish, right? They relish, then they hear the Krishna, they relish Krishna Prasad, they hear the glories of the Lord, the name of the holy name. The moment they get it, their heart is so pleased, relish, content. They chant the holy name, they hear the glories of Krishna, tears comes from their eyes. On the other hand, the people go to the theater, they cry if some heroes or heroine has something happen in the movie. On the other hand, here the devotee, when they see Krishna, the tears comes to their eyes. This is called transcendental, and that is called material. So this is the way when we develop that love for Krishna, then everything transforms. Our body, our mind, our intelligence, everything transforms. Then we completely become very pure and situated with our spiritual core. That's where all these ecstatic symptoms comes. When we see Krishna, then we have energy, we have all this enthusiasm to serve Krishna, then they won't feel anything else but Krishna. Right? That's where the journey comes, then progress comes to us. So this is called transformation. And how it comes to transformation? Our sadhana. Only by sadhana, then we can come to that stage. When sadhana only comes the raga attachment. Okay? So sadhana is very important. Okay? Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. That's one question, there's an answer, there's another question and answer. So many questions coming in my mind.
No problem.
After
Yes.
another. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, thank you, dear devotees. Thank you so much for joining this Isopanishad class. It will continue. And on Friday, we are having Swayam Bhagavan Keshav Maharaj is coming to our temple, so we will not have class, but it will be class till Thursday. So please be there. And this reveals our transcendental knowledge. It gives us wonderful transcendental knowledge. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So is classes are in-person classes or online?
Which one? Swayam Bhagavan Keshav Maharaj?
Yes.
It's in person, yes. It's in our temple.
All three classes.
All three classes, yes, in person.
Thank you, bro.
Yeah. Okay, so let's conclude today's session. Let's pray together. Vancha kalpatarupasya kripa sindhubhyevacha pamidanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Vaishnavvrinda ki jai. विराज श्री ईशोपनिषद की जय, शिल प्रभुपाद की जय,
Jai.
गौड़ी वैष्णव वृंद की जय,
Jai.
गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि
Hari Bol.
हरे कृष्ण
Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण हरि बोल
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you,
हरे
Prabhuji.
कृष्ण. Thank you, Hare Krishna. Thank you all. Hare Krishna.